This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. Before we start today's show, another reminder that you can support this show, an independent Australian podcast by me and Sam at patreon.com/Harry Potter and the Boys. You get full video versions. Imagine that. Right now you're listening to the pod, but imagine listening and watching the pod and seeing me and Sam laughing at all the hilarious stuff that happens in this pod. We're very handsome. It is worth it. And also, I don't know why I said that. Also, man, these sponsorship type things always go off the rails. Also, I've started putting them up a little bit early on Patreon. So if you want to watch them on a Monday arvo as opposed to a Tuesday sort of morning, jump on the Patreon, patreon.com/Harry Potter and the Boys. Anyway, on to the show. 50 years after the final Harry Potter book, Harry Potter is now headmaster of Hogwarts, ready to usher in a brand new generation of witches and wizards. My name's Radio Mike, and I love Harry Potter. In fact, I love Harry Potter so much that when I was a kid, I wrote a series of 7 Harry Potter fan fiction novels. This is book 3 in that series. Welcome to Harry Potter and the Commentors from Kazkaban. Everyone, welcome to Harry Potter and the Boys, a fan fiction opera podcast by me, Radio Mike. Sam Garlip is here. Welcome back.
And I'm so sorry, guys. That's all we have time for. So thank you so much for joining us again.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next week.
Get him off.
Goodbye, Amoris.
Goodbye, Amoris. No, Sam.
Yes.
Wow, I did not think today I would be sitting down with a Logie award-winning writer.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's something that I'm definitely claiming, and that's something I'm advertising, and I'm claiming it, and it was me.
Sam...
It was all me.
Sam works as a writer on the Cheap Seats, and Sam, on the weekend, the Cheap Seats won a Logie for most outstanding.
Most outstanding entertainment program.
And Sam works on that show, so that Logie is yours. You're writing the entertainment that is outstanding.
Insert the applause button.
And the 100 was also nominated, again, in the ongoing saga of Sam writing for 2 shows that compete with each other.
It does work well in I guess, being somewhat freelance in that, like, 3 things that I've worked for are nominated. I'm like, well, I'm probably going to win.
What was
something.
The third? Oh, have you been paying attention?
Yeah, which for some reason my family and some of my friends think I still work for.
Oh, yeah.
Which I get, like, they're very closely...
They're both made by Working Dog, which is a popular and successul TV production.
A lot of crossover in staff.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll play the same clips essentially.
Yeah.
And very, very rarely they're like, oh, Sam, could you give us a clip for something? That's once a year.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so my family still think I work for them. So then I got a message when, have you been paying attention to something? And they said, oh, congratulations. I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's actually funny, like, because Hamish and Andy have won, like, Best Comedy Podcast at like the Australian Podcast Award, the ACRAs, which is Australian Commercial Radio Awards, and then stuff like that. And then people always email me and are like, congrats on the ACRA, man, well done. And I'm like, I guess I work on the show, so I guess it's my ACRA, but like I don't consider it like my ACRA the same way like Hamish and Andy probably get it.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, and someone on the street would be like, if you said, hey, I won an ACRA, they'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah, and also like if Hamish was nominated for Gold Logie, if Hamish had won the Gold Logie, which is most popular presenter on Australian television.
Which for some reason, and that's the most coveted one.
That's the most coveted, popularity, But if he had won that, could I be like, well, like I work with Hamish on his podcast, which is not TV related, but in making the podcast so easy for him because I'm such a great producer, I allow Hamish to shine on the big screen because he's not busy worrying about the podcast because he knows we've all got it handled. Therefore, part of that gold Logie would be mine.
Yes. Considering all that you just said, I completely agree that you can claim that you know Hamish Blake.
No, but I won a gold Logie. Part of a gold Logie is thanks to me.
Have you touched the Logie?
No. Have you touched a Logie?
I've touched, the one I just won.
Oh, yeah.
Tim brought it back. Obviously, you didn't just leave it in Sydney.
Tim's speech was good.
Sorry, they won. Anyway, it was actually very shocking. This show that you feel like, no, literally you feel like no one watches it. The people do watch it, but
like this show.
Like this one.
But
there's lots of you out there. But it's like we do a small studio audience, but then so it was very weird, even though I see Tim and my friend Mel Tracina on TV every week.
Former guest of this show, Tim, as well.
Absolutely,
we can say that we're a Logie winning show. We're a Logie winning adjacent show.
That's so true. But it was odd that I'm like watching the Logies, and then like when they were genuinely shocked when the name got called out. And then seeing Mel and Tim on the stage accepting award was so funny for some reason.
Because they've been your mates for like years since you were not actually working paid in this industry and just wanting to be in this industry and doing shows at Sin FM and stuff. And now like you've won a Logie.
And I feel like we do just make fun of the Logies quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then now it's actually great. Now the Logies are serious and they're real.
So there you go, guys. We're now a Logie adjacent. Has Dilrook ever won a Logie?
I'm sure he's been on Utopia. Was he on?
He's Logie adjacent. So we're a Logie adjacent podcast, but by this logic, I feel like
he's probably more Logie adjacent than us. Oh, I guess I've been on the cheap seats, so therefore I was on the show that won.
Anyway, this is a Harry Potter fan fiction podcast.
Sorry, everyone. We're just catching up. We're doing our weekly just catch up during the show.
No one not from Australia. First of all, no one not from Australia cares or understands any of that Logie chat, and most people in Australia don't care or understand the Logie
In fact,
chat.
one guy I was at footy training on Tuesday night, and someone said, "Oh, Logies, whatever," and then a guy just goes, "Did you watch the Logies?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And that sounds like he works on the show. He's like, "Oh, okay." I was like, really? It's not even people don't care; they have disdain for it.
Yeah, people think the Logies is stupid.
But back to Harry Potter.
Yes,
or not even back to. This is the first time we're mentioning it.
Yeah.
Well, we should shout out a happy birthday to Harry Potter.
Oh yes, 31st of July.
31st of July. Harry just had his birthday.
Yeah, but this episode won't go out till the 8th of August. So we are late.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so how old would he be turning?
Well, he was born in 1980, I think. So Harry Potter this year would be 43.
Wow.
Maybe this is when the Cursed Child takes place. The Cursed Child could be taking place right now.
Right as we speak.
Wow.
And we're not doing anything to stop it.
No, we know what's happening. It's been written, but we're not doing anything. It's like in Back to the Future when Marty McFly goes and has sex with his grandma.
Yeah, is that canon?
Imagine if Harry went back. Imagine if the Cursed Child twist was Harry goes back in time and sleeps with his own grandma, making him his father's father.
That would be incredible.
That would be great.
It would be a good twist, and it would probably end the franchise completely.
Yeah,
I would say,
as in the real world, like people would have so much backlash.
If that got released as the final detail of Harry Potter.
Harry Potter was his own father.
Yes, and knowingly slept with his own grandma or something like that. That would I think that would fizzle the entire thing.
Also, a very happy birthday to Neville Longbottom. 30th of July, the day before. So we're more late on Neville.
Oh, sorry, Nev.
Yeah.
Always forgotten, isn't he?
Always forgotten, yeah.
He never gets invited to anything. No. Like, when did they go do that adventure and he was there in the armchair with Trevor in his pajamas.
I'll fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why couldn't Neville tag along to the Philosopher's Stone?
It takes a great deal of courage to stand up to your enemies.
And a great deal more.
Stand up to your friends.
And that's how I feel when I stand up to you sometimes when you go, Mike, fuck you, I'm quitting the show. Fuck you, I'm leaving you high and dry. And I'm like, no, you're staying. And then Dumbledore gives me some points.
Yeah, and then I go, oh, okay, I guess.
Do you have anything else Harry Potter related?
I guess I had some other, on Harry's birth, I was reading some article online, or it was more like a blog post online of someone talking about Harry Potter's birthday and being like, you know, how his birthday is celebrated every, like they're like Potter fests and stuff.
Yeah, right.
You know, but this person just in this article, it's like, yeah, there is stuff in Tennessee, there's stuff wherever. And they go, the problem, however, is that Harry Potter, a fictional character, isn't real. Or is he?
Oh. No.
No, he's not.
Is that what it says?
It doesn't say no, it does say, or is he?
Well, he's not.
And like, because we're really celebrating his birthday, but the celebration isn't fake. I'm like, yeah, but Harry,
it's symbolic for the fandom.
Yeah, so it's not real. Like, people are dumb.
That's crazy.
One of the Harry Potter thing I had, I was thinking about was to do with Professor Lupin. Because what do we know about Lupin between him finishing school? Did he finish school?
I guess so, yeah.
And becoming a teacher.
I have always thought about this because, like, here's what I actually think is interesting on that note, right? Because you finish school when you're 17.
Yes.
And so James and Lily died when they were 21.
Oh my God.
So think about
They're
this.
so young. And also, he looked so old.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
whatever.
think about this. In 4 years since finishing school, like say you're Professor Lupin, in 4 years since you finished school, one of your best friends and his wife gets murdered, orphaning their child.
That sucks.
Your other best friend is accused of murdering them, and then you believe that your other best friend was killed by him as well, right? And has disappeared. So all three of your friends, you think two are dead, one's in prison. Then you find out that one of your friends betrayed all the others and is secretly alive. Like the trauma of this, but also just the fact that even Peter Pettigrew, within 4 years of finishing school, he just turned into this murderous traitor. Like it all seems to happen very fast from like graduation photo, the four friends are there like, wow, we can't wait for like schoolies and can't wait for everything to come after school. Yeah. And then like within 4 years, they're all dead and gone. And Lupin's like, oh shit.
That's why you make friends at uni. You know, expand your friendship group.
Yeah.
Imagine the 5-year school reunion.
Yeah.
Oh my, like we had a 5-year school reunion and like barely, I guess people had changed, but barely.
Yeah.
As in, everyone was still like, either studying or working and whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas like this one is like, oh yeah, half of them are dead and we murdered each other. And
then, do you remember Frank Longbottom and his wife Alice there? They were tortured into insanity. Yep, that's war. It's a bitch.
Yeah.
What do you do now? Manage Leaky Cauldron. Oh, great.
Oh, good on ya.
I used to love that place. Yeah, it's true.
Manager. I manage a pub. Oh, the Leaky Cauldron. No, the hog said, oh.
Oh, okay. How's old Aberforth?
Love Aberforth.
I do like in Harry Potter how Aberforth, Dumbledore's brother, it's like constantly alluded to in the books that he like had some weird interaction with a goat.
Yeah.
Like he got like arrested for practicing inappropriate charms on a goat. And then in the 7th book, I think, or the movie, his Patronus is a goat. And Patronuses usually take the form of something you love.
Yeah.
So is it implied that Aberforth was fucking a goat?
I think it is. I think it is.
I don't get that. Like, all the details J.K. Rowling could include in her book, it's like, and side story, Dumbledore's brother was fucking a goat.
And she's fine with that.
She's fine with that.
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's weird.
I think he was fucking a goat.
I don't think there's any other implication we can take from that.
I've never seen anyone argue against that. I've never seen anything. No, he didn't.
Yeah. Anyway.
The thing on
the Lupin thing. Yeah.
The thing on Lupin was because I think the story is that he was so outcast. Like werewolves are so outcast by the wizarding world.
Yeah.
Am I making it, or did he live with werewolves and Am I making this up? Is that
rings a bell?
I think he was like
A lot of the comments,
Outcast.
a lot of the comments on our TikToks are like, these guys don't know anything about Harry Potter. Why are they doing it? They're
we
like,
do.
"Why-"
We just haven't refreshed our memory in a while.
I think that's true. I think he says he tried to live amongst the werewolves, but like they weren't his type.
They weren't his time, yeah.
Yeah,
But just like, why didn't he just get like a muggle job?
true. Like why? Yeah,
He's a half-blood.
but also
Why couldn't he just become an accountant?
But also, it wasn't even widely known that he was a werewolf because remember, like,
Oh, yeah.
Snape lets it slip to the students,
That's
and everyone's
true.
like, "What? He's a werewolf?" Like,
Yeah.
parents didn't know. So I don't know. Harry Potter. Plot holes galore, if you ask me. Anyway,
Harry plot holes.
Harry plot holes.
That's gonna make it.
We'll get.
It's going to make the pod.
We will get out the laptop to begin the next chapter of the fanfic. Now, last chapter we met Socky Potter, Harry Potter's
yes.
sock puppet friend, and there was like this weird foreboding moment to the end where it seemed that Cheeseman Damo, the school HR, was sort of watching on as the boys and Monsieur Charger and Harry Potter were like outside the fat lady who was having an affair with Hagrid.
Hagrid
Painting mode. So we pick it up.
How was the feedback in the last chapter?
Didn't get much actually. Have had a few
It's only
people,
just been come out.
Yeah, I have had a few people send in some fan theories of what they think is happening, of what's going on. Someone actually did point out that, and I don't think we picked up on it, there were a few times in the first like 10 chapters in which people were described as wearing sandals. And the guy was like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, that's a weird..."
Yeah.
I don't know. Just that. And then
wearing sandals. Yeah, okay.
Cheeseman Damo being like, it feels like it's setting him up to be something more sinister.
I
than he is,
I don't like that.
you don't like that about
I just
Damo?
wanted him to be just a normal employee.
Normal guy looking after the human resources of the company. Sam, we are at chapter 13 of this book where nothing really has happened so far, but that's not abnormal.
It's not unnormal.
It's not unnormal.
Oh, I guess it's not unnormal.
Yeah.
Which is a word we can expect to see in this book, I think.
Expecto Patronum.
Well, thrilled to be back.
Thrilled to have you. Logie Award winner Sam Garlep.
Oh, sure.
Please, Emmy Award winning Sam Garlep.
Could be.
Please take it away.
And as always,
we start by
reading the title of the chapter,
which is, Sam,
Chapter 13, The Hogwarts School Counsellor.
Okay.
So, this is what I was alluding to last week. The Hogwarts School Counsellor has been mentioned.
Has it?
Because I think
Someone had to go see the
they
school.
they said something bad happened and a kid had to go see the school counsellor.
It's good they have one. I don't think they had one in Harry's year because you never hear all this traumatic stuff is happening to Harry in the books, but it's never like, "Hey, Harry, like there are resources available. We've got a school counsellor if you want to talk to them about it." No psychological support.
Absolutely. There is actually, there's no focus on mental health at Hogwarts.
No, they're living in the dark ages. They're mental health deniers. They're like, suck it up.
Yeah.
Just go to school.
Just, there's a spell for that.
Reminds me of my dad. Reminds me of my childhood.
What, suck it up?
Just like, go to school. There's no reason you can't go to school. But Dad, I'm sick and depressed. I don't care. Go to school.
My mum didn't believe in sick days.
Mine either. I never missed a day of school.
So sick, and mum would just be like, "Well, you got nowhere else. No, you have to go."
Yeah.
Like I'd have to go to school.
I actually remember one of my friends in like year 11, like he missed a day of school. And then the next day I was like, "Oh, where were you yesterday?" And he's like, "Oh, I had a mental health day." And I remember being like,
"What the hell's that?
What?" Yeah, like
the fuck's that?
The idea that one of my parents would come up to me and be like, "Oh, hey, if you're not well, don't go to school. Have a mental health day. Just relax." That's like so foreign to me.
You know what I used to do when I was in primary school? I don't know if I did this in senior school. I hope I didn't.
Yeah.
But because I'd be sick, I'd say I was sick in the morning. Mum would say, no, you're going to school. So she'd get me to go to school. And after period 1, I would then say I'm sick. Go.
They call you
Because the teachers have to believe you.
Yeah.
So then I'd go to sick bay. Then teachers would call my mum. Mum would have to come pick me up at like 11.
within like 2 hours.
Yeah,
of
within
dropping
2
you
hours
off.
of being at
Oh
school.
man.
Which
Fuck.
is so mum's like fuck you. Like
And did you like
Sometimes she
see
didn't
her
come.
coming and you were like,
it's like I told you. Told you I was sick.
oh god.
But then like mum wouldn't let me get away with. She wouldn't be like, well, you don't just get to go home. Like, you have to go like lie down in
Yeah,
your room.
you can't just. I remember
I'm like, damn it.
my mum was a teacher and at a different school, and once in primary school I was sick and mum had to come and pick me up, and then because she was working, like I had to go to her class. Of like, I was in like grade 2 and I went to her class at a different school of grade 2s.
That is so funny and so dumb. I'm too sick to go to my class.
I have to go to my mum's school.
a different class.
And then I remember like I just went on one of the computers and was playing games, and mum was like so angry at me. She's like, you're sick. You can't be here playing games. You're distracting the whole class. And then she just made me sit on the floor with the other kids, and I basically just was at school.
Yeah, you were just at school anyway. That is hilarious.
Anyway, we should read the book.
Oh, okay. That is so funny. Anyway, because because the other thing mum would do was I just have to go and perform all the little like errands that mum was doing. Like I felt more sick doing these errands, like having to go and we have to go to the shops, the post office.
Gotta send
so
the letter.
boring.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd rather be at school.
Right? At this rate, I'd rather be at school. Then you find out at school everyone got to watch a movie and
Oh, yeah. You do miss out. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah.
Chapter 13, the Hogwarts School Counsellor. A few days had passed since, the wrong past, anyway.
Yeah.
A few days had passed since the confrontation between the boys and Monsieur Chargeur. The boys had started going to classes as normal, but hadn't yet had a potions or defense against the dark arts / farts class.
Right. Okay. So they haven't had a class with Monsieur Chargeur or Cheeseman Damo, the new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They had gone to Muggle studies with Professor O'Leary, where they learned about the vibrating dildo and its 12 uses in the Muggle world.
12 uses. So I love that, like, because, there's that scene in Chamber of Secrets where Mr. Weasley's like, what exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
Yeah.
Right, like, it is funny that the wizards just don't get Muggle things, but then, like, Mr. O'Leary's standing there being like, okay, today we're doing the vibrating dildo.
And it's 12 uses in the Muggle world. And then he says, one of which would surprise you.
I wonder
Professor
which
O'Leary
one it is,
stated.
because I can only think of one use for the vibrating dildo. So the fact that there's 11
think of more.
What else would you use it for other than penetrating your vagina or anus for pleasure?
You could use it as a weapon.
Yeah, well, could you?
Yeah, you could use it as like a massage gun just for like,
Non-erogenous parts of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
could maybe use it as a hat.
Yeah. Could you?
I don't know, just put it on your head.
Yeah, I suppose.
Hey, this is my new hat.
You could use it maybe to crush up instead of like
a mortar and
more like a
pestle?
mortar and pestle. So like a mortar and penis.
I wouldn't want to use a vibrating dildo as a mortar and
Extra
pestle.
crushing power.
Oh man.
Yeah,
You could use it to stir your food.
Totally. Yeah. So there's
You
lots
could
of
use it to pick your nose if you
God.
had big nostrils, or if it was a small
smaller-
dildo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of things. I don't need to list them all now. I've got 100.
And which one do you think the one that would surprise you as
The
Mr.
hat.
O'Leary?
Wearing as a hat. That did surprise me.
Now on to the final one, and this one will surprise you. The vibrating dildo could be a hat. Oh, wow, that surprises me. I told you.
That's is that Family Guy?
Yeah, where
It
he's
could
like,
also be
yeah,
a hat.
Peter's in book.
What is that?
He's in book club with all of Lois's friends.
That is-
and they're like, I really like the themes of this one. I really liked, the direction the book took. And then Peter's just like, here's another thing. The book could also be a hat.
That, I think, was one of the funniest things I'd heard as a child.
That is pretty funny. Like,
It could also be a hat.
because the layer of funniness on top of it is like that Peter doesn't understand what you're supposed to do at book club, so he thinks you just talk about the book
Yeah.
in any way. He's
Yeah.
like, you could use it as a hat.
I just remember loving that.
Okay, 2 paragraphs down.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
They'd also been to Transfiguration with Hermione, who was teaching them some cool new Transfiguration skills that we will develop on later in the book. Plus their school janitor class. The school janitor class, in which Mr. Filch and Professor Flitwick Jr. taught them various things about cleaning up the school.
So then now they just have a cleaning
They teach
class.
together?
Yeah.
That sounds quite useful. Isn't this actually just your job and not to do with magic at all? Asked Dyla Dungorius, an anthropomorphic crocodile who was mentioned in book 2 and is now an exchange student at Hogwarts. Sorry. Was he actually? Yeah.
Yeah,
Asked
because
Dyla
remember there was,
Dungorius.
there was Dildo Dilderoni in the last book.
Yeah,
He
there
was from
was,
Australia.
yes.
And he actually was there in the chamber. Remember, he came in the flying Ford Anglia.
Yeah.
And then I think he was like, gotta go. And wasn't he like, I told you I'd be back later in the book.
So anyway, but I also wasn't ready for an actual long word that is a real one.
Anthropomorphic.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a big
Asked
word.
Dyla Dungorius, an anthropomorphic crocodile who was mentioned in book 2 and is now an exchange student at Hogwarts from Dingut's School of Hocus Pokery, as Dildo Dilderoni presumably went home to Dubbo.
Dubbo.
That's where Dinguts is, in brackets. It's in Dubbo.
Dubbo.
That's so funny.
For non-Australians, describe Dubbo to non-Australians.
Oh, it's New South Wales, isn't it?
It's in New South Wales, so it's like probably closest to Sydney, and it's just like a regional town that's known for a big zoo. Isn't there like the Dubbo Zoo?
Oh, probably. But it's a big regional
Yeah.
town
But
or
it's
city.
like, isn't it sort of like, even the name Dubbo sounds so bogan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Mel Tresina from the Cheat Sheets, she went and did a year of breakfast radio in Dubbo.
Oh, there you go.
And yeah.
And it was a dub no on Dubbo.
Yes, dub no from her. One note.
Yeah.
This is not to do with the podcast, actually.
Oh.
Well, it is, I guess. Do you think that my voice is fuller on the...
Sound waves? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
What
is it?
Maybe, but
Doesn't
that's
matter.
okay. I'll level it out in post.
Probably didn't need to say that then. But sometimes there are issues with the podcast.
Yeah,
Things
yeah.
aren't recording.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
things don't have battery.
never really
so,
know.
All right. So, yeah, Dinguts is in Dubbo. Okay, that's great.
I like that Dinguts is in Dubbo.
I
You
agree.
couldn't have it in Melbourne, in Sydney, or anything
It's
like
good
that.
that you just, I just wouldn't have known much about Dubbo when I was, I guess you're probably-
We stayed in Dubbo because, so back to my parents, my dad was like a notorious cost cutter. Like,
I don't know what you're going to say then.
my
I don't know what I thought you were going to say.
no, my dad just like wanted to spend as little money as possible. Very like anal about money, right? Sorry, poor choice of word.
Stingy, anal.
Yeah. And we drove to Queensland from Melbourne.
Yeah, I did that as well once.
Oh, with your family?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because it was like too expensive to fly me, my mum, my dad and my brother. So dad was like, I'm driving us. And we
Yeah.
drove up, but it was like, it's like a 20-hour drive.
Oh, it's massive, yeah.
So we stopped for the night in Dubbo. We
Nice.
stayed in a motel in Dubbo.
We stopped heaps though. We did it like we'd see people we knew up and down. The,
You went up like the east coast of Australia.
kind of. Well, we went to like Narrandera.
Where's Narrandera?
It's just inside. It's New South Wales. My dad grew up there.
You wouldn't put Dinguts in Narrandera.
It's a bloody great place, Narrandera.
yeah, cool.
2 pubs, actually a lot like Hogsmeade. If Hogsmeade was in the middle of country New South Wales.
All right, let's continue. This is probably
I think sometimes me and Mike need to catch up beforehand so that we don't just have chats.
Well, I feel like I would never have been like, hey, where'd your dad grow up? We never would have gotten to that.
Narrandera. It's a great place.
now I know.
Yeah,
We should do a live show there.
If anyone is from Narrandera, write in.
Or Dubbo. Any dubbers out there? All right.
Dubovians.
Hey guys, it's Dimmy here and Harry Potter and the Boys. We'll be right back. Excuse this interruption, everyone. Just a reminder that Derek is a disgrace to all wizards, but also you can support the podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/Harry Potter and the Boys. There you get full video versions and you get the episode a little bit in advance. To all the non-Patreons, thank you to the 20 also people who have subscribed to the Patreon already. Also, you can listen to my other podcast, 20th Century Boy. All of this stuff will continue to come out while I am traveling in Europe over the next month or so. So to help us bulk record and find the time, to do all of this, please support the show, patreon.com/Harry Potter and the Boys. I will still be in your ears. We will still be in your ears while I am traveling. The show will not stop. And, having the Patreon helps that. Maybe in the past I would have had to take 3 or 4 or 5 weeks off the show while I travel because I wouldn't have had the time to bulk record stuff and get it all done and get it all sorted for you guys. So please consider supporting the show. Support my other stuff. 20th Century Boy is my other podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram at radio.mike and follow this podcast on Instagram at HPATBpod to see a bunch of clips and other fun stuff too. Also, while you're listening to this, if you could just rate the podcast 5 stars on Spotify, that would mean the world to me. It would also mean the world to God if you are a religiously inclined person. God would really appreciate it if you did that. So if you want to get into heaven, I would recommend 5-starring this bad boy right now.
Okay. Also, this is the book now. Also, who was the charms teacher? I don't think we've ever mentioned charms in this book.
Yeah,
and the boys definitely haven't been to charms. I guess he can just be Professor Flitwick Jr. So they had a charms class, I guess. I love it around. And Mr. O'Leary also ran the nightly debating sessions with his Irish accent, saying up, down, for the boys, and in, out for the girls.
I don't know why it's more inappropriate for Mr. O'Leary to be monitoring the girls doing it.
It is. Well, I do know why. It just is. It just is.
It just is.
And then in brackets, we have up, down on the dick, in, out of the vagina with the fingers.
God, calm down, Yummy
Thank
Steins.
you. And I don't, yeah. That's topical. That's very good.
I think I brought that up last week, and again, no one outside of Australia will get it.
And anyway, you can masturbate in many different ways.
Yeah. It is funny that, clearly me in 13 does not know what the clit is because there's no mention of the clit.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
I mean, it is funny that Yumi Steins' book, she wrote a sex ed book that was controversial because they thought it was too graphic for kids, right? But this is a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, I know. Kids know about it.
Yeah.
Educating on it is by far the best way to prevent, I don't know.
Mishaps
And misinformation and...
Anyway,
whatever. That's just what I reckon.
how long have we been going for?
I don't
We've
know.
been going for half an hour.
What?
We're not even close to... This could be the longest episode ever.
Okay. For the girls, up, down the dick, in and out of the vagina with the fingers, which was the agreed upon standard of debating for the school. Okay. I like that. That's, see, education. Meanwhile, in Harry's office, Cheeseman Damo sat across from his desk. Now, I know you don't like it, but the ministry still would like you to undergo 5 sessions with the school council this year, starting from today, Cheeseman said. I hate that guy. He's such a dick, said Harry. Harry, just try to be open with him. He's a really great guy and a professional, said Cheeseman. I can't remember what Cheeseman Damo's voice was, but that's what I'm doing.
I think you were doing Toby from The Office vibes, but I'm happy with you for you to do whatever.
Harry, just try to be open with him. No.
Just do what feels natural, man.
Flash forward to Harry in the stereotype counsellor office. You don't know the word stereotypical, do you? Flash forward to Harry in the stereotype counsellor office where Harry is on the couch and the counsellor is on a chair with a notepad. The counsellor was the pale, blonde man the boys saw in an earlier chapter.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
I don't recall.
And school was just so hard, Harry was in the middle of saying. There was this guy called Draco Malfoy, and he was the biggest bully ever. Deep down, I had a crush on him and, kind of wanted to give him a blowy by the Quidditch pitch. But he didn't seem responsive to it. So I did it to Dean and to make him jealous. And don't tell anyone that.
Malfoy has not been mentioned at all.
No, because...
this is Malfoy's first mentioned.
Because he's kind of been replaced by Male Boy.
Yeah.
So I didn't know there could be 2. Okay. and Harry had a crush on him.
Which is that's dipping into regular fanfic territory.
The counsellor nodded and also rolled his eyes as though he was in a sticky situation. So he's, how do you nod? You nod?
I think it's this, Sam. Look.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Video viewers on the Patreon, patreon.com/Harry Potter and the Boys would see that.
Yep. Once again, Harry, I'd like to remind you that I am Draco Malfoy from school. I'm a counsellor now, so
Malfoy is the school counselor. And he's counselling Harry, which does not feel appropriate.
No, and Harry's talking about that is so funny.
Wow.
My father. Okay. Once again, Harry, I'd like to remind you that I am Draco Malfoy from school. I'm a counsellor now, so I'm happy to unpack what happened at school if you need to.
So it feels like Malfoy's kind of simmered a bit.
Yeah,
which is good. He's, given up
he's
the
chilled
dark.
out. He might be normal.
Yeah.
He was just so handsome. So much more handsome than me, and especially Ron, the ugly fuck with his ginger pubs. And say pubes, I assume. And I would have done anything to make him jealous. Hell, I even went skiing with Crab and Goyle, and I don't mean the snow. Harry said. Oh, Mike.
He wanted to make him jealous.
That means, oh my God, skiing. That means he's just giving 2 hand jobs.
That's what going skiing means.
Wow. Well, let's move on. What's Malfoy's voice again?
Potter.
But then he would.
Do you want me to do Malfoy? Can I do Malfoy?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Potter, maybe we can move on to another topic other than Malfoy.
Said Malfoy. That was really good, actually.
Thank you.
And then they casted Tom Felton as him in the movies. And he was so handsome as hell. And at that point, I just couldn't stand it, said Harry, while Draco looked confused. I'm confused as well. I thought, sorry, did they make the movies based on their lives?
Yeah, how did they cast?
That one line has really, really fucked this whole
It's added
fan
another
fiction.
layer, hasn't it?
Fuck that. I thought it was all...
That's
I don't
in
know.
universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about your friends, Potter. Who are you spending time with?
Draco asked. There's Neville. He's cool, I guess. But he's always like bossing me around and making me do shit that he wants to do. And I don't even want to do, which is annoying. You know, one of those friends where you're like, treat me better or I'm not going to be your friend anymore. And he literally never wants to do anything with me. I try to take him out to places, like the Centaur sex party, and he just ruins it. And then he always comes to my office and is like, oh, Harry, you've got to buy more books for the library. And, Harry, the Quidditch pitch needs to be mowed. Oh, Harry, here's a birthday card for your birthday and a voucher for mini golf. Like, Jesus, Neville, I get it. You want to go mini golfing.
Oh, my God.
But that doesn't mean you can just, get me a $300 voucher and be like, take all your mates or something and grab some beers. Like, you don't have to, tell me what to do, Neville. I think this feels very nice that he's doing that. Oh my God, it's still going. And his birthday, we were just mentioning
That's
this.
so funny.
And his birthday is the day before mine. So I can get him a roast chicken from the supermarket or something. And he just looks at me and smiles and goes, thanks, Harry. Implying that it's not enough. I'm sorry, we can't all afford $300 mini golf vouchers, Neville. I'm not made of money. I mean, I did sell out speaking tours around the world after Voldemort died. I make millions and millions of dollars in appearances and from my book sales, and I am about to build my water park dream home in California.
Water park dream home.
For me to go during the summer with Dudley. But I'm not made of money, said Harry, waving his arms around like a crazy person as several galleons fell out of his sleeve.
God, that's so funny.
A lot to unpack in that entire monologue, but basically...
Yeah.
Neville seems great.
$300 mini golf voucher.
Yeah. And take your mates. Yeah,
take your mates,
nice.
get some beers. He doesn't even say we'll go together.
And so he did. So Harry did speaking tours around.
Yeah, he did it.
world.
Yeah.
But then you did.
And now he's building a water park dream home in California, which does sound exactly what a 13-year-old would think that someone with lots of money would do.
Yes, yeah, it does actually.
it's my water
you
park dream home.
I feel like there was a lot of times where I thought, at one point I'm going to have to design my own theme park that I can, that I will live in.
Is it because of Richie Rich?
Probably.
Like, because he had a theme park in his backyard.
That was a great flick.
And he had a McDonald's in his house. That was a great movie. Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, Richie Rich is a great movie. And Hugh Laurie?
Was Hugh Laurie in that? Was he the dad?
Is he the dad?
Don't know. Maybe. Should we check?
Yeah, I think.
I'll do a check. I'll do a cheeky check.
I reckon he was. I hope I'm right.
Richie,
I think he was.
Richie
Rich.
I think this is sounding vaguely familiar because I feel like I've said this before.
Or is that Stuart Little?
Hugh Laurie's in Stuart Little. Yeah, it's definitely Stuart Little. No, Hugh Laurie's not it. Yes. No?
No.
Wait.
Who's the dad in Richie Rich?
It's not. It's Edward Herman. Sorry, no, it's not.
Really?
It's not. Hugh Laurie is definitely in Stuart Little.
Maybe he's the dad in Stuart Little.
I think he is. Let's just double check.
He is, I think. Damn it.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, you're right.
It's a different Stuart.
Richie Rich's dad was kind of fat and with a mustache.
Hugh Laurie is Mr. Little, yeah.
Okay, I mixed those up.
But I think I've said this before on this podcast. Richie Rich is so funny because you would think if your surname was Rich, Richard would be a silly name decision. But the Rich family have gone, no, our surname is Rich. We're also very rich. Wouldn't it be great to call our kid Richard, aka Richie?
Richie Rich. You know what? I don't mind it.
I don't mind it. Yeah.
I know there's a Ronald McDonald. There's
Donald
also Donald
McDonald. Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. And considering what rich people name their kids now, I think Richie is probably the least.
That's true. Yeah. But it's like it is like if Elon Musk called his kid Muskie.
Musky Musk. That's what I call Elon. Musky Musk, how are you? As he calls me.
And then we're Malfoy.
So several galleons falls out of Harry's sleeve. So he obviously is rich.
Richie Rich. Okay. Any others?
Said Malfoy. There's some Hermione, I guess, but I don't know. She's always just like not fun anymore. I'm always like to, let's go on a quest. Let's go on like a journey and like find out a mystery or something.
Find out a mystery.
And she's always saying shit like, Harry, we didn't do that stuff for fun. We were doing that stuff because we had to in order to help Voldemort or some shit. And not help Voldemort. And stuff like, hey, Harry, Neville said he saw you at the Three Broomsticks trying to trade in the mini golf voucher he got you for your birthday for cash, and they wouldn't accept it. And you made a loud scene in the bar and said, do you know who I am?
Which is the worst thing to say if you're famous.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if you, Logie award-winning Sam Garleb, went,
yes.
Do you know who I am? I won a Logie for my writing.
It works all the time. Works all the time. The best part is more when people don't know who you are when you're in something.
Do you know who I am? No.
No.
I'm not familiar with him.
I do feel like that when I'm walking around either the Channel 10 office, which I'm not in there all the time, or like the radio station. It's just when people just see you, they go, oh, it looks like they work here.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like, what's that guy doing here?
Yeah.
You don't want them to recognize and go, what are you doing here? You want them to not know who you are.
Is this your thing as well when we worked on the 100 and there was a guy who was a full-time runner on the show?
Oh, God, I will never get over that.
You hated that.
Have we talked about that on this?
Yeah,
podcast?
we have.
Okay. God. A runner, which is required only for the day of the shoot, which is once every 2 weeks.
Chips for
people. To get chips and coffees. Had a full-time job. And had a desk and a computer.
He was doing more than that.
No, because then I was doing the warm-up and he made a list of trivia questions I could ask the crowd. But then I was like, I'm like, oh, but I prepared stuff for that. He's like, oh, I prepared one. I'm like, oh, okay, send it to me. Never sent it to me. So he just made a list of trivia questions on his computer. He spent a day making trivia questions on the computer that he didn't send to me. And I had to get all my work done in 3 days. And I had so much work to do.
It's an injustice.
And I had no desk. I had to share a desk with you sometimes.
Yeah, literally
Didn't have a chair or a computer.
Man, that's crazy.
Anyway, he was actually the most lovely guy. But
Yeah, lovely guy. Anyway.
And then they somehow realized, oh, they only need to run it on the day, so there's no runner. Anyway, whatever. Good on him. So Harry, he's explaining what.
Do you know who I am?
This is what Hermione is saying.
Do you know who I am?
Saying, well, I'll go from here. Saying stuff like, "Hey Harry, Neville said he saw you at the Three Rooms trying to trade in the mini golf voucher he got you for your birthday for cash, and they wouldn't accept it. And you made a loud scene in the bar and said, 'Do you know who I am?' And eventually they just gave you a couple of free beers to quiet you down." Like, excuse me, am I being watched, Hermione? Do I have a surveillance camera following me around? I didn't realize you were my fucking mum, Hermione. I thought my mum was fucking dead, Hermione. Not you, Hermione. And you know, she's been all depressed since Ron died, and I tried to cheer her up by hitting on her and asking her if she wants to show her boobs or anything. And she doesn't want a bar of it. You know,
completely misreading the room. Like, oh, is
sad.
everything okay?
Show me your boobs.
Do you want to show your boobs? No, but it's more like, do you want to show your boobs? I think you'd feel better if you showed me your boobs.
Don't know if that's... Yeah.
Don't do that.
Is that one of the stages of grief?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's...
It is funny that Ron just died in the first book and just
it is funny. You're really paying yourself into a corner there. Like, hopefully you don't want to bring Ron back because he's fucking dead. Although you manage to talk about him all the time, so that does still work. You know, sometimes I think about my first day of Hogwarts and wonder if I should have shaken Malfoy's hand instead.
He's saying it to Malfoy.
Yeah. Imagine that. Me and Malfoy sailing around the world together on a pirate ship we built after finishing Hogwarts. Voldemort isn't dead because I went to Slytherin and joined the dark side. So Voldemort is like first mate on the ship and like has a parrot on his shoulder and a nose patch instead of an eye patch. That's hilarious. And a hook for a hand. And we all tell stories about Dumbledore being stupid and how we killed him and just laugh together. I miss those days. Harry ranted.
Harry is just so all over the place.
He's made up these days, and then he misses them.
He's created a fictitious, hypothetical scenario, and then he's like, I miss that.
Where instead of Harry saying that thing where he says, I think I can tell
Find out the right person.
From my... I think
wrong sort for myself.
Thanks. Sorry, everything of Mike's is turning off and on, and he's breaking everything. He's got his new light.
This is the most chaotic.
That just has turned off by itself. Probably because you dropped your phone on it 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
But that's hilarious.
God.
Anyway, but I like... Yeah, so if Harry had shaken Malfoy's hand, then this whole alternate... He would have been in Slytherin and he would have
become
pirate ship.
Swashbuckling pirates with Voldemort.
The pirate ship seems to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So I miss those days, Harry ranted.
You miss those days? But they didn't happen.
Said Malfoy. Oh, I mean literally, Harry said.
Do you mean figuratively?
Malfoy said, look, whatever. The point is, you never really know who's got your back in this world. Don't trust anyone, especially the people you trust the most. Malfoy scribbled on his notepad. Trust issues.
That's the only thing.
That's pretty good.
Of all of that. Like, not like clear psychological distress.
Delusion.
And possible schizophrenia. It's like trust issues. Okay, we'll explore your trust issues.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Harry, we've got a couple minutes left. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
Malfoy asks, oh, don't even get me started on Cheeseman Damo. Constantly on my back like, oh, Harry, you know Mr. Charge will stop at nothing to bring Voldemort back to power. And, oh, Harry, Borislav and Monovic escaped from Kazkaman. And it is almost certain that they are going to try and kill you and others at the school. That guy won't stop complaining. To think I gave him the job at Hogwarts after he struggled to get hired anywhere.
Okay, are we feeling some Professor Lupin parallels, perhaps? Yeah.
I mean, I just mentioned Lupin beforehand. It's all coming together,
It's
isn't
all
it?
coming together.
Why didn't he get hired anywhere? I regret it now. And we all know he was in charge his year at Hogwarts. Oh, my God.
What?
He's talking about Cheeseman Damo. He's in Mr. Charge's year at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Those two were friends for Dumbledore's sake. At least until... Well, anyway.
Interesting.
Wow. Things are heating up. So, I also like that use of for Dumbledore's sake.
Yeah. So Charger and Cheeseman Damo were friends at Hogwarts.
The flippity fuck. Honestly,
I couldn't tell you.
the first I've heard of it. There was a knock at the door, and both Harry and Malfoy turned to see Father Goyle.
Oh, Father Goyle's back. I love the use of Father Goyle.
Father Goyle.
Goyle is now the school priest in a school where we don't actually know if they practice any religion.
Yeah.
Can I be Father Goyle?
Sure, yes,
Okay,
yes,
can you
can.
lead
I'll lead you
I've
in.
read the line he says.
I'll count you in. There's a knock at the door, and both Harry and Malfoy turned to see Father Goyle, who timidly said,
Oh,
you're nailing it.
Crab's ghost just came back to life and he's saying, can Harry come and apologise for him dying? Crab's
Ghost came back to life.
50 years after he died, he's like, I might come back now.
Yeah. And like Goyle's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go ask him. Like,
I tell Harry to come and apologise to me.
Okay.
I don't know how he'll respond, but we're all kind of good.
Anyway. Crab's ghost just came back to life, and he's saying Harry can come and apologize him for dying.
Amen.
You should have done it like that. Professor O'Leary actually had a stroke that day, but it was a misunderstanding.
What?
End of chapter. So that's not even got anything to do with it.
And what's ambiguous about that is we know Professor O'Leary is the chief masturbation officer. That's how I've done. He had a stroke that day. Did he have a stroke, as in a heart attack, or a stroke of the dick?
Well, that must be the misunderstanding. I thought it was a heart attack, but it was a stroke of the dick. You've just logicked yourself out of that one, Marky.
That's the misunderstanding, yeah.
Wow.
End of chapter.
I love that Malfoy is back and he's the school counsellor.
I love that Father Goyle is back and Crab's ghost is
Crab's ghost is back after he's rested easily for 50 years.
Yeah. And now he's like, hey, why are you back? Oh, I just want Harry to apologise.
Yeah,
it wasn't really his
I
fault.
was up there, I was thinking, you know what? Harry's got to answer for this.
Yeah, but it wasn't his fault. You set the fire. Let's check the chapter of the next
Okay, the next chapter.
title of the next chapter.
Wait, hang on just a minute.
What?
I'm just checking the top of this chapter first because I thought we'd done chapter 14 twice. We haven't.
Oh,
It's the next chapter.
Okay.
Oh.
Parallels to something in the third book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thanks again, Sam, Logie award-winning writer.
I did touch the Logie.
Did you really?
Yeah. And then you know what? They actually are heavy.
Are they
They're
heavy?
heavier than you thought. For some
What is
reason-
the Logie trophy?
It's like that little. It's like a. It's kind of like a person, but with a little TV.
Yes, that's right.
It's like
yes.
It's not quite a person.
Yeah.
Is it? It's like a character.
Right. I'm still confused.
You get,
It's like a little. It's like a human
stick
holding
figure.
a TV. A stick
Yeah.
figure. Yeah.
but the proportion of the head is not quite
Proportionate.
human.
Yeah,
like head.
yeah. You wouldn't want to be.
You
a
wouldn't
Logie.
have that
You
as
wouldn't
a
wa-
mannequin with.
Right. Yeah.
No
Well,
way.
awesome, man. Well done.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any plugs?
Not really. Because at the moment I'm just working, I say, every day on these two TV shows.
Yeah. Well, at Sam Garlep on Instagram, give Sam a follow to
Please
see his
do.
Logie award-winning stuff. Watch The Cheap Seats, Channel 10. The 100 is back soon on Channel 9. Sam's
Yes.
working on both of them.
Yes.
Check out My Pod 20th Century Boy, and clips from this go up on HPATB Pod on Instagram and TikTok.
They sure bloody do.
At radio.mike on Instagram.
And then sometimes we just like to pick fights with people in the comments.
Yeah. And finally, don't trust anyone, especially the people you trust the most. Goodbye, Amoras. Sam, I just wanted to say, I really trust you, man. A lot.
What? Goodbye, Amoras.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to more of me right now, head to my other podcast, 20th Century Boy, wherever you're listening to this. Would also appreciate it if you could rate this podcast on Spotify. 5 stars, we do accept 4, but we will not accept anything under 4, so do not give us anything under 4. If you do, I will Avada Kedavra your ass. But seriously, guys, thank you so much for supporting the show. Consider jumping on the Patreon and doing all of that stuff. Thank you so much. Speak next week. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.